Hello, welcome back. Where have I been? Well, no excuses, I've just been. Remember, usual spiel, videos will still keep coming, so a subscription will be worth your time. And please let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button. 2 包.
2个热包。
谢谢. I got them. They were 4 kwai, which is about 45p, or about, I don't know, 50 cents, 60 cents. It's absolutely roasting. We had about 6 weeks of non-stop rain, which resulted in the flooding here of the Yangtze River. It completely flooded the walkway on the river. But now it's absolutely baking. It can kind of get a bit uncomfortable. Mostly because of the humidity. But my advice to people who are not used to this sort of weather and then are encountered with it is to sort of settle into it. Don't be standing there being like, oh, so hot, oh. You got to kind of adjust, right? So just relax, settle into it. It's a lot of it's in your mind because you're not used to it, and soon enough you will get used to it, don't worry. And obviously, you know, wear decent clothes. So here we are, very simple. It's just sort of stewed pork inside the bao, the bread, which is this very spongy white bread here. World class. This is the massive downside, it's so bloody greasy. The juice from the pork just spurts everywhere. More waterways and canals. There's plenty of them in Wuhu, all sort of going like a, what do you call them, like an artery. What do they call them? I don't remember that phrase from my geography lessons. Like an artery, I guess, to the Yangtze River. And what's going on down here? This is normal, where the water is sort of blocked up, where it's supposed to go underneath this, under the road, and it's all clogging up and being pretty dirty and nasty. And gradually it's getting better, but the rain was just so relentless those few weeks ago that it's going to take a while to sort of catch up, I think. And apart from the walkway being completely flooded, in Wuhu itself, I haven't heard that there's been any real dangers to people's lives and livelihoods. Thankfully, the story is a lot different all up and down the river, which, to remind you, is the second largest river in China, ridiculously long, going from Shanghai all the way west, basically. So there's that. On the other hand, there's been lots of sort of rumours, I say rumours, going around that the Three Gorges Dam, which controls a lot of the water flow on the Yangtze, is structurally unsound, is about to collapse, this, that and the other. And yeah, it seems like that was all a load of bollocks, really. You know, with some of these stories that come out, you see on Twitter, you know, and you look at the headline, oh god, that sounds scary, and then you move on because you've got other things to look at. And then you're going around for weeks thinking, oh, the Three Gorges Dam is about to be destroyed. Obviously, when you're in China, you start to look at these things a little more closely because you live here and it has a direct effect on you. If the Yangtze River did, well, if the dam did collapse and there was millions of tons of water coming down here, yes, that would definitely affect me. So you look into it again and you're like, okay, so where on earth did that story come from? People have been to the dam and seen it, and no, it's working normally. You know, there's a lot more water, obviously, and they let some water through to ease some tension for the upstream. But that's it. These stories build up in people's minds, and then it's so ubiquitous, these stories that get passed, which are untrue or slightly untrue, that it builds up a narrative of a certain place in your mind. And from the outside, not because it's your fault, but because you don't have time to look into the accuracy of every headline you see. You just sort of take it on face value, even if you consider yourself a skeptical kind of person. And you build up a certain image of China in your mind that is completely incompetent, completely corrupt, and completely hopeless. There are some people out there who seem to be willing to perpetuate these kind of things on some kind of agenda. Personally, I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in peace between peoples and looking at things from a different narrative frame than what's presented to us by the media. If I can contribute to looking at things differently, that will help. I'm not interested in being pro-China or anti-China. I'm not even sure those categories make sense when you think about the different parties that are involved, the many nuances and subtleties. For example, to be pro-China or even anti-China, are you talking about the government? Are you talking about the mass of people? That is 1.5 billion people. Can you generalize something like that? Are you criticizing or praising Chinese culture? Okay, which parts of China? Which aspects of Chinese culture? Let's say you do support the Chinese government. In what? On what part? Do you support their foreign policy? Do you support their domestic policy? Do you support their infrastructure? Or the ideas behind the way they run their infrastructure? I'm not sure that makes any sense. It makes sense to support ideas, but you have to make yourself very clear, specific about what you're talking about. If you sort of drift into one of these categories, people put a label on you, and it's very difficult to escape from it. It breaks the conversation down, and you're fighting uphill in whatever you're trying to present. Other people have decided, okay, I'm not going to talk about the more important issues, the more contentious issues. But then you get accused of not addressing the cultural milieu or something like that. Not being relevant. Okay, so I understand that argument as well. So my advice is, if you are going to comment on these subjects, be nuanced, be skeptical, don't get caught up in the narrative you put in. People want everything to be simple. That's understandable because the world is complicated. These boxes are useful in many ways, but what they risk doing is just preventing us from thinking. Don't be too depressed. I know these floods seem to be topping off what seems to be quite a bad year for China, especially, but the country has been through worse than this if you look through history. Don't let it get you down, and don't get caught up in these stupid manufactured crises that the media foists on you. Anyway, lecture over. I promise my next video will be something a little bit more positive. That's your cue to subscribe and like the video, comment what you think. Do you agree or disagree? I actually really welcome disagreement. I think that's really cool, and it continues the conversation. So let me know, and I'll see you soon. somebody's going to tell me, oh yeah, having a pet goose is fairly normal in China.